The following is a paid advertisement. The views expressed are the sole responsibility of the advertiser.
Put the power back in your hands. This is Behind the Law with attorney Justin Clark.
Welcome to Behind the Law. Happy weekend to you. So we started this show, 15 years ago, I think. And the name Behind the Law was really meant to go behind the law, to let you know what really happens in law, so that way you're not taken by surprise when you have to go hire a lawyer. Today, we're really going to go behind the law. And what I mean is we're going to see what should you actually pay for when you hire a lawyer. Should you pay up front? Should you pay at the end? I'm going to tell you the secrets, the real secret sauce. Also in segment number 2, we're going to talk to those of you that either have money that you owe to the IRS or you have tax returns that you have not filed. And let's be honest, this is mostly for those of you that are self-employed, because those are the people that normally get in trouble with IRS stuff. I will do it alongside, as always, my beautiful co-host, blue dress today, Makaila Nichols. Hi, Makaila. How are you today?
Good. Are we really going to go behind the law? Because I think you said it at least 4 times.
I was trying to really hammer that in. I'm going to tell you some secrets today that most people don't know unless you're a lawyer, which I am a lawyer. You are not a lawyer. You're here to ask the questions that the people at home really have, right?
Yeah, the questions I would ask my attorney.
Exactly. And we're here live. If you have questions that you want to ask off the air, 321-282-1055. Are you ready to go?
I am. Are you?
Where are we going to go?
We're going to go behind the law.
Thank you. Quick break. Behind the Law continues. You own a house, you need to have your windows and sliding glass doors checked right away. I'll tell you why. Joined by my good friend Dan Bringman, Renewal by Anderson. How do I know, Dan, when it's time to have my windows and sliding glass doors checked?
Well, it's a great question because it's not always obvious. One of the ways that sticks out immediately is that energy bill. We have to make, we've seen it go up all year long. Got a couple cool days now. A couple other ways are they're not functioning properly. You have some dust on the seals, and also just water infiltration, or maybe you heard a lot of rattling during some wind and so forth.
Absolutely. QR code is on the screen for you right now. What does it cost to have you and your design team come out and see what's going on with my windows?
Absolutely nothing but your time.
That's a beautiful thing, and they're going to come check it out, tell you exactly what you need or don't need sometimes. But a lot of people say, well, Dan, I'm worried about the economy. I don't want to write a big check right now. You've done amazing things to make this almost free sometimes when you compare it to your electric bill.
Absolutely, and it's a great thing to be concerned about, but we take the worry away. What we've done is we've extended our finance plans, and we call them our easy pay plans, and they go up to 144 months, and we go as low as 5.97. I mean, that's like really low. Most terms out there go as high as 12, 14%.
And if you think about what you're paying every month versus how you're going to save money on your electricity bill, this is almost free for you and a no-brainer. Dan, always good to see you, buddy. Do yourself a favor right now. Hit the QR code on the screen and call Renewal by Anderson today. Welcome back to the show. Most of us actually don't need a lawyer for all of our lives, believe it or not. Let me tell you a little story about me. My dad, construction guy, high school education, barely. I think he barely had a high school education. Worked at 84 Lumber Company. And he was just a blue-collar, hard-working guy. Very, very hard-working, great guy. Lost him over a decade ago. I'm the first person to ever go to law school, certainly in my family. Maybe the first person to ever go to college. So I didn't grow up knowing much about law or lawyers. I remember going to a law office one time growing up, and it's with my mother when she was divorcing my father. I know that sounds pretty bad, but I'm like you, I didn't know anything about law, and it was scary when you go to a law firm because number one, you don't know exactly who to trust, and number two, you're scared about how much you're going to have to pay them. It is scary being a non-lawyer, such as yourself. When you have to hire a lawyer, how much do I have to pay them?
Yeah, it's scary, especially every time you talk to them. I feel like you're just getting charged I don't know, astronomically for every moment. It's crazy.
Yeah, that's the thing. You worry about, well, they're charging me by the hour, or is it by the minute, or how are they charging me? And it can be scary because you don't know what that case is ultimately going to cost. I think that's why a lot of people don't go to law firms. So I want to clear up a few things. Number one, in the past, what have you had to hire a lawyer for?
Trademarks.
Trademarks? Like rich people stuff?
No, just business stuff.
Oh, business stuff. That's what I meant. Okay.
Yeah, business stuff. Just a lot of like intellectual property with my book. We had to do that kind of stuff. Honestly, Steve kind of handled a lot of it, which was nice. And then just kind of like protecting my assets and stuff. So it's kind of like a family, like we have a family lawyer that we just like go to for anything. He's really awesome.
Got it. So if you need a lawyer, you find yourself in need of a lawyer, it really depends on what's going on in your life. And let's start with the easy one, right? The one that we see the commercials for all the time. Personal injury, right?
I thought you were going to let me say it because I knew that one.
You did?
I did.
The one that we see commercials for all the time.
Personal injury.
There you go. Personal injury. And
we're going to get you $1 million.
And you see this on you see this on the commercials all the time. It's no consultation charge, and we're going to talk about consultation fees in a minute, and then no fees unless we win. And what does that mean? It means exactly what it says. So if you have an accident, a personal injury accident, a lot of times an automobile accident, slip and fall or whatever, these people are not going to charge you a consultation fee ever, and they shouldn't. I can't think of any personal injury attorney that would ever charge a consultation fee. It just doesn't happen. And it's true, they are not going to take any money from you until you settle the case. So at the very end, once you settle, or if you go to trial, once you get a judgment, then they're going to take a percentage of that money for their legal fee. Now, take a wild stab at what the percentage might be.
10%.
10%? No, we couldn't live. No.
Listen, most things I feel like are 20%, so I feel like 10's a little lower.
Now, it's way more than that, and you have to understand that.
It's more than that?
Yeah. So anytime that there's a personal injury case, it's negotiable, but the general rule of thumb is 33% of that settlement is going to go to the attorney, or if they have to file suit, 40% of that settlement is going to go to the attorney.
That explains why they can afford all the billboards.
Well, but you have to understand, too, taking these cases and not getting paid until the end is a huge risk for lawyers as well, because there are a lot of expenses to take that case all the way, and not to mention we're not getting paid for our time during the personal injury case. So there's a risk, too, because if we lose, we get nothing. It's not like we're going to come after you for that money.
So are they pretty selective with like what cases they take? Very
much so. So you don't want to take a case that's like, oh, probably going to lose, because you're going to lose a lot of money during that case. But I think that, like, if you have a personal injury attorney and they're charging 33%, that's very average, very common. Medical malpractice can be even more, but if you have to file suit, that number normally goes up to 40% as well. That's why when you see these billboards saying, I got $10 million or I got $2 million, it's not, that person did not get $1 million, okay? So if the billboard says I got $1 million, they probably walked away with $400,000, $500,000, generally about half of it, because a lot of that $1 million is going to go to pay your attorney and pay medical expenses as well. So don't get super excited when you see I got $1 million, I'm going to go get hurt. Don't do that, because to get $1 million, you've got to be badly hurt, and you're not getting $1 million anyway. So that's how personal injury really works. That is a true free consultation. You don't pay anything unless the attorney wins at the end. That's normal. 33
so what if
to 40%.
You can't find someone to like help you?
You got to just keep calling and calling until you find someone. If not, you just don't have a case, unfortunately. But sometimes you'll call a lawyer and they'll say, no, we're not taking the case. You call another lawyer and they will take it. So if you have a case where you've called a couple lawyers and they won't take it, keep calling and calling and calling until you find someone that will, and hopefully they will. So that's personal injury. That's really the easy one. You don't pay anything up front. You don't pay any consultation fee. Then you talk about family law, which is one of the toughest areas of law, and I think oftentimes gives lawyers a bad rap as well, because you'll see families fighting over, say you're going through a divorce, right? Family doesn't have a ton of money to fight over to begin with. And the only people that win at the end sometimes is the lawyers, because family law is very expensive. Now, what I have found about family law is not most, but a significant amount of family law attorneys charge a consultation fee. $300, $400, $500, something like that. At my firm, we don't. We have a family law department. We don't charge a consultation fee for anything. I'm not sitting here trying to brag about my firm or anything. We just don't. It's always been my strategy and philosophy is we do not charge consultation fees, no matter what type of area of practice we're talking about. A lot of them do. I'm not telling you not to pay it. I'm not telling you it's bad. I just want you to know in family law, unless you're calling my firm, you can expect to pay a consultation fee on average, say $300 to $500. Not all firms, but some firms. But then in a family law case, this is a case that is pretty much always going to be hourly. So you're going to pay a retainer. The general retainer fee for a family law case should be $2,500 to $5,000, something like that. But also keep in mind that every time you call the lawyer has to do something, they're going to charge you per hour. Guess what the going rate is for lawyers per hour?
$250.
And it totally depends on experience and other things, but then size of firm as well. The average lawyer is going to charge you about $300 to $500 an hour, believe it or not. And that adds up quickly.
One time I got charged $175 to open a piece of mail.
I remember that.
That's pretty ridiculous.
I remember you
Don't
screaming
do that.
about
If you're a
that,
lawyer
yes.
and you're watching this, that's kind of scummy, honestly.
But it's, most lawyers are going to bill 0.1 or 0.2 or 0.3 depending on how long it takes. So it's not like we're just billing for the hour. It's literally every email, phone call, whatever. It's 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, and it does add up quickly. And I think I'll talk to you here. What I'm trying to tell you sometimes is if you have a case and it's an hourly type case, be careful about fighting and spending too much fighting over the minutia and the little tiny things, because sometimes fighting over these little tiny things is going to ultimately cost you more money than just saying, you know what, fine, take that. Don't ever, and this is going to sound bad because people disagree with this all the time, but don't ever let principle get in the way of you making good economic decisions for you and for your savings account, because that's what happens often is I'm just mad. I'm going to fight over principle. It's never a good way to make decisions in law, in my opinion. You need to treat your case as a business, because it's going to end up costing you a lot of money to fight over something super small. And if you have questions about this, by the way, the phone number is on the screen, 321-282-1055. I always invite you to come in. I'm there Monday through Saturday, meeting with people. And guess how much I charge for a consultation?
Free.
It's zero. It doesn't cost you anything to come in and talk to us. And we have lawyers that do a lot of different areas of law. I like to have different areas of practice that all kind of work together. I think it really makes my firm different. It's a differentiator for my firm. It's a tough word for me to say.
Differentiator? It's a big one.
Yeah. So that's family law. That's an hourly type thing. Another area of law that a lot of times I see these on flat fees is estate planning. Okay? And let me explain estate planning a little bit to you. So estate planning is when you are planning for what's going to happen after you pass away. And you want to plan your estate to where your family, your children, your heirs don't have fights. They don't have anything to fight about after you're gone. And estate planning is actually very inexpensive. Sometimes $600 for a will, or $1,500 for all of the documents that you need, or create a trust or whatever it is. But estate planning is actually very inexpensive. What is not inexpensive is probate, especially if you have assets. When you pass away, if you haven't done proper estate planning, the probate can get nasty and can get very, very expensive as well. But worse than that, even worse than the financial expense of probate, you got these kids who you thought loved each other. They're brothers and sisters, and now after you're gone, they hate each other because they're fighting over your money.
Agreed.
It's always sad. I see this all the time. It's really, really a sad part of my job when I see, and both of them are always right. You know what I mean? They're passionate about, oh, he just wants mom's money, she just wants dad's. It's really sad, but we can prevent that very inexpensively by just doing some estate planning before we pass away.
Makes sense.
Yeah. So do you understand a little bit the difference between contingency, like pay at the end, and hourly?
Oh yeah.
Does that make sense to you?
Because I've had to pay those bills.
$175 to open a letter,
Open
huh?
a piece of mail, $175.
Here's what I want to do. Let's take a quick break. I hope you learned something.
I hope you learned something too.
I'm the one that was talking.
I know, but maybe you taught yourself something.
I mean, I learned that you paid $175 to open a piece of mail.
I'm still mad about it.
You're still talking about it. This was 2 years ago.
That's ridiculous. Hopefully it was slow.
Slow open?
Yeah.
I mean, at least hopefully they used that cool little mail opener
They must
thing.
have done something fancy for that.
It might have been a fancy mail opener. Who knows?
Or maybe they like steamed it open.
Here's what we're going to do, a quick break. When we return, those of you that are self-employed or business owners, you know what I'm talking about here. Tax season is not a fun time of the year for us. A lot of you guys do a great job all year, pay your quarterly taxes. But some of us are so focused on our business that we kind of stress about the taxes one time a year, and oftentimes we have to write a check to the IRS at that point. And sometimes you can't, or you've forgotten to, or you've been so busy you haven't filed tax returns over the last few years. What do you do in that situation? As Behind the Law continues. Hi everyone, Justin here, the beautiful Makaila as well, at our house. People say, is this really your house? We're at our house
really
right
our
now.
house.
Really our house. But how well do you really know your AC unit?
I mean, seriously, do you know what it takes to keep it cool and keep you comfortable every single night?
I definitely don't.
Neither
I'm
do I.
I'm not great at this kind of thing, but the experts certainly do.
Absolutely.
The experts over at Duquesne and Old Dash really take care of our unit all the time. You know, I think when it comes to your AC unit and fixing things, we're kind of all in the same boat. Clueless. I'm clueless. You're clueless. I think you might even be a little bit better at this sort of thing than I am.
Not really.
But when it comes to the comfort in our home, we don't have to be clueless, or we can all be clueless together. And let's bring the professionals in.
Absolutely. When we trust our Duquesne dealers, I mean, they know everything and they really hold your hand. And more importantly, they know what they're doing and they know how to keep your house cool.
And you know, I'm actually okay with them holding your hand because I'm so happy to have them here that like, that's the one
it's not
time
hot in here.
another guy can hold your hand. I'm good with that.
That works for me. When you choose Duquesne, you're not just picking any service. You're picking peace of mind. They've got your back so you don't have to worry about a thing.
No less, worry less, trust Duquesne.
Give them a call today to schedule your service with the AC experts. Duquesne, they
know AC. So
we don't
you
have
and
to.
I and you and Stella don't have to. Thank you, Duquesne.
Have you been threatened by the IRS? You are not helpless. You have the power to fight wage garnishments and fight levies on your accounts. I'm Justin Clark. Call me now for a free consultation or visit youhavepower.com and take back control of your financial life.
Welcome back to the show. So at my firm, we deal with IRS problems all the time. So people come in, normally two things. They haven't filed their tax returns in a few years and they're scared to death. Or they have filed their returns and they owe money to the IRS and they're scared to death. And I know this feeling. I think a lot of you do, especially those of you that are self-employed. You own a business. This stress that you feel when you think about, wow, the IRS is going to come after me. Am I going to go to jail? Are they going to come take their money? And let me tell you something about the IRS. So the IRS is the world's largest collection agency. In a nutshell, that's what they are. And they have a lot more power to collect against you than other debts that you have. You owe Bank of America money, they got to sue you, come knock on your door, hand you paperwork, and go through that whole process to get money from you. The IRS does not. So the IRS simply has to send a letter to you, and they can go into your bank account and take your money out. They can garnish your wages. So they are a very powerful collection agency. But just because they're powerful does not mean that there's nothing you can do, because you have plenty of options when it comes to dealing with the IRS. Now, it's kind of a political issue now as well, if you think about it, because during the Biden administration, they were saying we're going to hire 80,000 new IRS agents, and now we're saying we're laying off a bunch of IRS agents. In fact, at my firm, I've gotten calls recently from IRS agents trying to prepare for bankruptcy because they were afraid they're not going to have a job. Like, I'm not high enough up on this chain. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know if they're really going to fire all these people or not. Is it good or bad? That's for another show, probably another forum even to talk about that. But regardless, the IRS has a lot of capability to come after you. Now, you do not owe any money to the IRS. You're a business owner. You've been really good about it. How have you stayed good about not owing any money to the IRS, other than your dad pounding it into you?
Definitely my dad and my accountant. He's like, yo, Mac, you gotta. I honestly, every time I get money, I put, 25, 30% in another account that I can't touch because, unlike people that have their taxes taken out, I don't.
Yeah.
So I know I'm gonna owe, and some years are better than others. Like if I lose money in business, good for me because I owe Uncle Sam less, you know? So it's a weird thing, but I always try to put money aside that I can't touch, and I love contributing to my Roth because you don't pay taxes on that.
Beautiful, beautiful. So let me talk to those of you who have not filed tax returns in a few years. And I've had people come into my office that haven't filed a return in 15 years. And surprisingly, sometimes they haven't even heard from the IRS. It's pretty wild how it all works out. But it's still stressful because you're like, are they going to arrest me? What are they going to do to me? I know they're going to come after me at some point, and they probably will. Believe it or not, sometimes when people come in, they haven't filed their returns in many, many years. It's fairly easy for us to fix because what we do is we go in and we have a little bit of a back channel to the IRS, and we can actually see the transcripts that the IRS has on you for all of those years. We can see exactly what the IRS can see. So we go back and prepare the returns based on what the IRS already has for you. I can't tell you how good people feel when they come in and they're so stressed they haven't filed returns. And then we finally tell them, look, you're current on your returns now. We're filed up until next year. It's a stress reliever for people. And it's not as hard as you think. You're like, well, I'm going to have to go get 80 boxes worth of receipts. It's not that difficult because we're going to work based on what the IRS has on you already. And you're going to love how you feel when that's all said and done. And you can always come into my office to talk about this too, 321-282-1055. But once that happens, once we have done all these returns, many times, most of the time, we're going to owe something at that point. So there's going to be penalties, interest, and the actual taxes themselves that you owe. So let's say that after we add up all of this for the last few years, you haven't filed returns, we owe $50,000, right? What do you do at that point? Well, there's plenty of options, believe it or not. Number one, the IRS is happy that you're in the system. They're not mad at you. They're happy. Okay, Justin Clark's back in our system here. We can have some real communications and negotiations with him. The first thing that we do when we go back and file returns for people who have not filed in a while is we're going to try to get a penalty abatement, because a big chunk of what you owe is going to be penalties. So it's IRS penalties, and most of the time we can get the penalties abated, meaning removed. So now that $50,000 is already down to $30,000. So we're just trying to chip away to get to the point where we owe as little as we possibly can. I mean, that's our job really, is to pay as, it sounds terrible, but pay as little as we can.
So should I not pay my taxes and then call you in 5 years?
Oh, absolutely. That is not what I'm saying. No. I think that gets me in trouble if I
Oh,
say
I
that either.
see.
No, I'm really not saying that. I want everyone to pay their taxes. I want everyone to be up to date on their taxes, on their filings, and pay. That's what I want. But it happens. It happens to business owners. Think about it.
No,
you
life happens.
You start a new business. You put all of your money into this business. You're working 100 hours a week. Sometimes filing taxes and spreadsheets is the last thing on your mind. You're trying to keep the business afloat for your family. It happens over and over and over, especially for new business owners. It's just a natural thing, and I understand it. I get it. I think the IRS gets it. So, all right, we owe $50,000, right? Now we're going to slash the penalties away. Maybe we're down to $30,000 right there. So what do? Maybe I don't have $30,000 just sitting there to write a check for. I
said say stroke.
I was going to say stroke
No, you
a check,
didn't.
but you
That
always
was good.
give me a
Thank
lot
God.
of
It's so
hard
creepy.
time. We don't want to write a check for $30,000. We can't, or we don't want to. We need that money to run our business. What do you do at that point? Options are unlimited, really. We have a lot of different options that we can do. The first and easiest option really for you is we do an installment agreement. An installment agreement is essentially a payment plan. So, okay, now we're down to $30,000 IRS. I want to pay you that $30,000 over the next 3 to 5 years, something like that, something manageable, where you're paying a certain amount every single month, and then it shows basically that you're current with the IRS at that point as well. They're not going to come after you for anything, so you're on an installment agreement, and everything is good.
I didn't want to interrupt your train of thought, but does that include like my taxes for this year?
No. So it includes
just
the
like-
taxes that have been filed for,
Okay.
essentially. So then next year, and that's actually a very good question, because the next year, if you don't file or you don't pay, they will cancel the installment agreement on you right away. You have to keep current on your taxes to be in an installment agreement. The next option, offer and compromise, essentially a settlement. Hey, IRS, I know I owe you $30,000. I do. But I don't have $30,000. Can I give you $10,000 or can I give you $5,000? It's an offer and compromise. These things take a while. It's a process to go through. But the IRS, if the numbers really work out, will settle with you, where you just write them a check for a certain amount of money, and now you're settled, you're cleaned up with the IRS, you don't owe them anything. Next year, you just file your returns as normal, and everything's good. Everything's hunky-dory with the IRS. And again, let me tell you something, because we've done this thousands of times for people. The way the human being feels when they are going through the IRS issues is not good. It's the rolling around on your pillow at night, stressed as heck about everything else in your life, but all you can think about is owing money to the IRS. When that person comes into my office and I show them, look, this is all resolved, you owe nothing to the IRS, the relief I see on their face is probably the reason I keep doing this, It's the reason I keep doing this business that is tough and stressful, is because it makes me feel so good when I see the stress come off of your face and you don't owe the IRS any more money whatsoever. It's like a ton of bricks off of you. It really is. And if you've been through it, you know exactly what I'm talking about. 321 282-1055. Free consultation, Monday through Saturday. Let's go through these issues together. You and I'd happy to. All right, here's what we'll do. When we come back, what are we going to do?
We're going to talk about what we learned. No, I learned a lot, and maybe you can think of something that you also learned that you didn't know already.
Quick break. We'll come back and wrap it up with what did we learn?
It is never a bad time to prioritize your health, your well-being. That is why I come to Bellam Wellness. I'm joined by Dr. Zaidi. You are a primary care physician first and foremost, but you started Bellam Wellness. Tell me a little bit about why you started it.
Bellam actually has been my passion from quite some time. I wanted to do something a little bit more than the primary care, so we can take care of patients from inside out. We want them to feel better.
It means beautiful soul, right?
Beautiful soul, absolutely.
And I love that because not only do you offer some aesthetic services, but pain management, you really do it all. Tell me about some of the other services you offer here.
The main is, which I love the most, is my laser services.
I love it too. That's where I get my laser hair removal done.
So the most common, as you know, is our laser hair removal, but we do the fine lines, wrinkles, scars.
Spider veins.
Spider veins, absolutely. That's one of my favorite to perform, actually, because you can see the results instantaneously. And scars, as I mentioned, and brown spots, pigmented spots.
Because we all have something that we're a little insecure about because we always look in the mirror, but you really help people find the beauty within themselves and kind of fix those little imperfections along the way. Dr. Zaidi, I trust you with all my aesthetic related services.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. And your family is so inspirational. I love the husband, the kids, all of them. I really enjoy coming here.
Thank you so much. And we look forward to continue giving service to you and the whole of the Central Florida.
Yeah, do yourself a favor. If you want to check out this amazing list of services, look no further than Bellam Wellness.
I'm attorney Justin Clark. Have you been threatened by the IRS and are feeling scared? Call me now or visit youhavepower.com.
Welcome back to the show. We wrap it up today, as always, with what did we learn? Makaila Nichols in the blue.
You're also in blue.
We didn't plan that.
No, we didn't. I learned a lot.
I learned that we're both in blue.
Yeah.
No, seriously, what did you?
No, I'm truly trying to struggle with my thoughts because there are so many of them, like so fast. Payment plans with the IRS seem like a very good option.
Yep.
Family law can get ugly. You should definitely have a will.
I think
Make it easy for your family, you know, like just.
I think that's good stuff.
I think it's important.
I learned that you were charged $175 for a lawyer opening a piece of mail for you.
Yeah, absolutely ridiculous.
That's why some lawyers, you get a bad name. Trust me, it's a tough profession. A lot of really great lawyers out there. I mean that.
No, and usually I always say, like, I usually can't stand most lawyers, but you're pretty great.
Makaila Nichols, thank you so much. Thank you for joining us. See you again next week for more Behind the Law.
I'm attorney Justin Clark. If you're worried about your student loan payments restarting, call me now or visit youhavepower.com.
The proceeding was a paid advertisement. The views expressed were the sole responsibility of the advertiser.